Hey everyone, hope you're all doing well. As you can see, I've got a new background now. I've just spent the last week moving house. We're still in a little bit of a disaster zone here, but I have set up my bookshelves. So in today's video, I'm going to give you a little bit of a tour of how I've done it, and then you can kind of see what books I have. I love watching these types of videos because even though the hobby, I suppose, of reading books is a fairly common one, there's almost no two people who have like the same shelves. So I like to see what people have on their shelves, and it helps me get some ideas for things to read. So I'll just run around the camera, pick it up, and I'll start showing you. Okay. So we'll start up the top left here. These are basically my biographies, or most of my biographies, and they're running roughly in time order. So over here we've got like the older ones, or sorry, not the older ones, the in chronological order, like you've obviously got Caesar, and then you're ending over here with Warren Buffett. So I'll just quickly go through. So I've got Adrian Goldsworthy Caesar, Alexander Hamilton by Ron Chernow, Napoleon the Great by Andrew Roberts, Lenin by Victor Sebastian, Monash by Grant Lee Chiesa, The House of Morgan by Ron Chernow, The Warburgs by Ron Chernow. I've got the first volume of Stalin. That one is called Paradoxes of Power. That's by Stephen Kotkin. Robert A. Caro's The Power Broker. David Nassau's biography of Joseph P. Kennedy, first volume of Frederick Longueval's JFK, Walter Isaacson's Einstein, Alice Schroeder's Warren Buffett and the Business of Life, and then just one there on Churchill and the King. I suppose I could fit that in time order anyway. And then coming across here, I've just got 4 other books. Nice, I like the covers. And so I thought I would put them on display. So I've got Ian Kershaw's Hitler, that's just a single volume. The second volume of Stephen Kotkin's Stalin, Waiting for Hitler. Andrew Roberts' Churchill, Walking with Destiny. And then Barack Obama's first volume of his memoirs, A Promised Land. Then coming back down here, we have kind of 20th century-ish history, and also kind of war-ish history. It's not perfect. There are some stuff that could fit in here on other shelves, but this kind of makes sense to me. And again, this is roughly running in like a chronological kind of order. So I've got over here Castles of Steel by Robert K. Massey, about the First World War at Sea. Then I've got Richard J. Evans' trilogy on the Third Reich. I've got Anthony Beevor's The Battle for Spain, Anthony Beevor's The Second World War, Band of Brothers by Stephen E. Ambrose, Anthony Beevor's D-Day, you can see a bit of a theme here, Post-War History of Europe since 1945 by Tony Judd, Max Hastings' Vietnam, To Hell and Back and Roller Coaster by Ian Kershaw. Obviously these kind of fit a bit better over here, but I wanted to put them together. And then Dark Continent by Mark Mazawa, which covers the whole of the 20th century. Then moving over here, I've got kind of what I would term like a little bit older history. So I've got A Nation Without Borders. So it's about the basically the United States during the age of the Civil Wars. I thought it was a really nice edition. I haven't actually read it. Crazy Horse and Custer by Stephen E. Ambrose, Decision in Philadelphia by Christopher Collier and James Lincoln Collier, The Longest Trail, so some writings on Native American history, culture and politics, Tom Holland's Dynasty, The Romanovs by Simon Sebag Montefiore, and A Very Short History of the World by Jeffrey Blaney. And over here I've got just on display the Western Front Diaries of Charles Bean, and I've got another little coffee table book here, How the First World War Was Won. This one just has basically a series of maps in it showing the different troop movements. So we'll move over here again. So these are kind of more financial and economic books that I've got. So I've got one, the Rosenbaum kind of textbook on investment banking. I've got the 3-volume history of the Federal Reserve by Alan Meltzer. That only covers up to 1986. Unfortunately, he did die before being able to complete the history. Got The Panic of 1907 by Bruno and Carr. 2 volumes on the House of Rothschild by Neil Ferguson. This Time is Different by Reinhardt and Rogoff. Debt the First 5,000 Years by David Graeber. Lords of Finance by Liaquat Ahmed. I think that's how you say that. Alan Greenspan's Capitalism in America. Ben Bernanke's The Courage to Act. And The 5 Giants, a biography of the welfare state by Nicholas Timmins. And then moving over again, I've got 2 books here on the space program. So First Man, which is the biography of Neil Armstrong, and oops, this is why I didn't want to take all the books out, and A Man on the Moon by Andrew Chaikin. I put these on their own shelf because I want to collect more on the space program, and so I will fill that out as I go. This shouldn't be there. So then I've got the 2 illustrated, Jim Kay illustrated editions of Harry Potter, so the first 2 books, and they're very nice artwork, so I thought I would put them on display, and so I've got until I run out of space and I have to put them with just the spines showing. Then coming down here, I've got some kind of odds and ends. Got a little bit of fiction, so Amor Towles's Rules of Civility, John le Carre's The Honourable Schoolboy. Got 1984 there, 12 Years a Slave. Coming back here, I've got Paul Watkins' Stand Before Your God. That's a memoir of his time in the British public school system. And then I've got David Sheff's and Nick Sheff's kind of duo of books here, Beautiful Boy and Tweak. And then coming over this way, we've got 2, so I've got Pete Souza's Shade, and then Chasing Light, Michelle Obama. You can kind of see a little bit of a theme here, I guess. Barack Obama's Dreams from My Father, and The Audacity of Hope, and then a collection of Barack Obama's speeches. Over here, these are my girlfriend's books. So there's a lot of psychology books here. We've got the DSM-5 over on the end there. Won't go into too much detail there. Then coming down here, we've got a bunch of textbooks basically. So I've got some physics, law, investments, and finance textbooks. I've got some like statistics, accounting. Those are basically all from uni. And I just kept them because they are quite useful. I do actually go back to them from time to time. And then we'll just go down to this bottom shelf here, which is the science shelf, which I should really bulk out a little bit. So I've got Brian Greene's The Elegant Universe, which is about string theory. A brief guide to the great equations, which is just something I picked up for like $3 once. It's one of those sort of like quick books. Nate Silver's The Signal and the Noise. Pedro Domingos's The Master Algorithm, which is about AI. And Stephen Hawking's A Brief History of Time. And then down here I've just got a collection of The Economist magazines. I used to have a subscription and I've just kept all of the magazines. And then a handbook of flight, which is one of the textbooks that I used when I was learning to fly. And then coming over here, I've kind of got, this is a little bit more like, say, politics or like current issues, or stuff that didn't really fit anywhere else. So Breaking News by Alan Rusbridger, All Out War by Tim Shipman, A Cruel and Shocking Act, A Secret History of the Kennedy Assassination by Philip Shannon, Mega Change, which is just an economist book, All the President's Men, The Climate Cure by Tim Flannery. I've got the first volume of The Official History of ASIO, which is Australia's spy organisation. Kind of like, this is Australia's MI5 basically. Simple Justice, A History of Brown v. Board of Education and Black America's Struggle for Equality. That's something I still need to read. Noam Chomsky's Manufacturing Consent, Ally by Michael B. Oren. This is a really good book. If anyone is interested in kind of diplomacy or just reading a really good memoir, that's really good. He was Israel's ambassador to the United States during Obama's years. On Intelligence by John Hughes Wilson, which is kind of a take on Clausewitz's On War, but for intelligence. Democracy in America by de Tocqueville, Machiavelli's The Prince, The Art of War by Sun Tzu, and then Marcia Gessen's books over here, The Future is History, which is about the Sovietization of Putin's Russia, effectively, and then their biography of Putin himself. So those are all of the books. So hopefully you found some interesting ones in there. I'll just step back and you can kind of see how I've organized them. So this will be my background for the foreseeable future. And obviously as I collect more books, things will fill out and I'll have to reorganize it a little bit. So thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one, guys. Have a great week.